very much indeed. Thank you. So kind. How lovely. Thank you. Hello and welcome to Friday Night with Jonathan Ross. And you know, it is, of course, the cold and flu season. I don't know, have you had the flu? Have you had the colds, ladies and gentlemen? I was suffering. I'm feeling a bit better now. Everyone's had head colds and nasal congestion. My sinuses are about as clear as John Terry's conscience. That's how blocked it is. But help is at hand. You need to use one of these. OK? Easy, girls. We're not that type of show anymore. This is the nasal cornet, all right? Honestly, this has been recommended to us to try, and I'll demonstrate. This is to clear your passages, all right? You stick the whole end up your nostril, one nostril, you block the other and you blow through it, and it clears it all out. You ready? This is what happens. And your ears pop as well. I've got both of mine are clear. Clears your pipes out. They're now as empty as Vernon Kay's inbox. There's nothing in them. There is just one unfortunate side effect, though, because if you really go for it, I found this out earlier, if you really blow, this can sometimes happen. See, it sounds like a sort of a mating call. Before you know it, you see... Hello. Yeah. I know what you're thinking. She's a bit of a moose. But, ladies and gentlemen, off you go. Thank you very much indeed. Oh, dear. 7 years at WADA. Talking of moose, may I introduce some men who've often been stuffed and mounted in a lumberjack's cabin. It's my house band. 4 puffs and a piano, ladies and gentlemen. Giving it everything for you this Friday evening. Thank you, fellas. Marvellous. Let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look and see who is in my green room for your entertainment this evening. My first guests are officially the UK's biggest selling band of the last decade. They are Westlife. There they are. Look at them. You wouldn't believe they've been around that long. They look too young. Hello, fellas. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Can we just check? I just made sure I got the names right before the show, and I almost did it, didn't I?
Yeah, nearly. Almost.
Nearly. Let's see how we get it now. We've got Nikki.
Hello.
OK, we've got Kian.
Hello.
We've got Ronan. and at the end, Bono. Westlife on the show for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us, boys. Or men. My next guest is a comedian. He happens to be football mad as well. He's from Liverpool. He is Mr. John Bishop. Hello, John. I know you find him very easy on the eye. John is a proud Scouser, isn't that right, John?
That's true. I'm very proud.
Quite right. I'm not going to make any cheap Liverpool jokes. Some lesser TV hosts happily mock Liverpool. They do, don't they, John?
You did, and last time you did, you had to apologise.
Yeah. I'm always apologising.
I know.
It's my default setting. It's on my answer phone. You know, you phone up if I'm not in, sorry. That's what you do. Mr. John Bishop, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us, John. OK, here we go. I'm so excited because my next guest is Hollywood royalty. He is the Golden Globe winning, Oscar and BAFTA nominated, one of my all-time favourite movie actors, Mr. Jeff Bridges, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. Jeff, look at Jeff here, look. Hello, great to have you here, sir.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Look, you can listen to Jeff all night. How laid-back is Jeff? He's a laid-back movie star. He's relaxed, isn't he? How cool is he? If he was any more chilled, we'd have to grit him. Mr. Jeff Bridges, I'm thrilled you're here. Thank you for joining us. And also on the show tonight, we have great music from Hole. Countney Love and Hole. There you go. Hello, Countney. Hello. Looking beautiful as always. Countney has been on the show before, and she promised that she would come back and perform for us, and such is the power of this programme that just 4 short years later, we've lured her back. Countney's got... You look fabulous.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Look at that. Wow, look at that. You've had the tongs out, haven't you?
A little bit, yeah.
Now, that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. Before we get on with those guests, and it's going to be fun, let me give you some paper folding news. The world's smallest origami sculptures have been named. Did you see this in the papers this week? Here they are. That's them there. Look at that. They are, just believe it or not, they've been folded just 3 millimetres high. A tiny little bird, 3 millimetres high. And they're saying they're the world's smallest. Well, I'm afraid I have to dispute that fact because we have made some smaller here on the show. I'm a bit of an origami expert myself, and I've been working this week, and I have some here. I'm just going to get them up for you. Deep breaths, hold your breaths in, because if you blow out, we could lose them. Okay, they're tiny. They're so small, I don't know if you can even see them. All right, you ready? Okay. Can you see them there? Let me see him on the hand there. You've got a special magnifying camera here. Let me show you. Okay. Have a look, see what I've made. See if you can see what it is there. What I've done is, they're tiny, they're 1 millimetre each, and it's my homage to Westlife, you see. I tried to make the stools, so they said, I couldn't do them as well, but that's enough of that, isn't it? Don't have to make more. It was uncanny, the likeness, wasn't it? Shall we get my first guest out, ladies and gentlemen? I think we should before they lead impressionable young Countney astray. Will you please welcome Westlife? Yes, this is what it looks like. And now, I'm going to try and get it all right. Mark?
Yes.
Kian?
Yes.
Shane?
Yeah.
Bono? OK. Nicky? Oh, wow, Nicky's the good-looking one, isn't he? But all the rest aren't bad either. Hey, great to have you. Great to finally have you here. Thankfully, you finally crumbled and gave in to our request. Every series we've asked Westlife to come in.
I know.
They've always refused. They say they just want to do the late show. That's all they want to do.
We're very
That's
busy.
not true.
We've been very busy.
OK, well, it's great to finally have you here.
You know what? This is like it's a notch on our belt now because, like, of all the things that you want to do.
Hang on, I do not want to be referred to. I don't want to be a notch on Nicky's belt. Can I be honest with you?
Somebody does.
But, well, of course they do. Your fans are, let's face it, devoted and slightly bonkers.
Crazy in the good way.
But they really are. I mean, they are there for you 100%. I mean, you really do have a very devoted
Yes,
following,
they
which
are.
must be a
Thank
lovely
you.
thing. Do any of them follow you around the world? Do you get that level of, interest?
They do all sorts of things. They send us weird and exciting gifts and lovely gifts.
Well, what sort of gifts do you get?
They come and visit us on Christmas Day sometimes.
Oh, that must be very welcome, I'm sure. So who's been visited on Christmas Day, then?
I have.
Yeah,
I think I'm the only one that hasn't been visited on Christmas Day, actually.
He gives out the aura, do not do it, full stop.
I don't feel left out, by the way. I'm fine.
Don't visit him on Christmas Day.
It's going to happen now. You know that this year.
I know, yeah.
What kind of stuff do you get given then? You get, I guess, what, chocolates, that kind of thing, photographs of themselves, that kind of stuff? Treats?
We've had, I mean, over the years it's been, I mean, we're together 12 years, so we've had, like, you know, you can imagine, cuddly toys, you know, chocolates. Yeah, we've had a few funny things. Mark had a turnip. We still can't work out why.
Hold on. You're the only one who hasn't been visited on Christmas Day and you got given a turnip.
There's something going astray
They're
here.
sending you a message of some sort. So 12 years, that's quite something. I mean, and you haven't spent... I know Brian's gone along the way, of course, but apart from that, you guys have been together since you were teenagers, I guess.
Since we were 18, yeah.
There you are, look at-
17, the boys are 17.
That's before he was lured astray. But have there been moments when you've been either individually or as a group you thought maybe we should call it a day, or the four of you, have you as individuals thought, I want to do something solo, I want to try my hand in that way?
Not so much the solo thing. There's been kind of bits along our career where, you know, when Brian left, we wondered, because everyone had it drilled into our heads that if somebody leaves, you know, the band will slowly fall apart and, you know, Brian will go solo and, you know, he'll be the Robbie and everyone will be back at home in Burger King or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So that
luckily that
was a
didn't
worry
happen.
then for you, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, it was a worry. I mean, you know, when we started, everyone told us it'll be 3 albums, greatest hits, someone will go solo and that'll be it, you know.
Who told you that? That was a bit cold.
Take That, the Spice Girls, they all told us
They all
that
called you
by
up?
doing that.
Yeah.
No,
No, they didn't call us. Hi, it's Ginger Spice.
Who chooses the music? Is this Louis? Is this... because Simon... You're managed by Louis Walsh, aren't you?
Yeah.
But Simon Cowell's pretty hands-on as well, isn't he?
Well, Simon signed us back in '98. He, before Simon was Simon, as everybody else knows him, he was like an A&R man in BMG Records at the time, and he flew in to audition us basically with Louis. Louis had already taken us on board, but Simon was there to sign us. And Simon and Louis work closely together in picking our songs and kind of putting us with different producers and stuff. And like we said, you know, it's worked. You know, 12 years in, it's worked really, really well.
And what kind of advice do they give you? I mean, how hands-on are they? Do they phone you up? Do they talk about what you're wearing? Do they get involved at that level, or is it just choosing the music?
Well, in the early days, Simon was very hands-on, so much that he used to call us up and say different things. Like, he'd call you up and say, Nicky, kiddo, you're looking good today. Then he'd go, shit, sorry, that
I like the way you said,
Shane, you're looking fat.
Shane, you're looking
He rang me up one day, kiddo, great performance today. We were on CDUK, I think, at the time. He goes, but you're looking a bit fat, kiddo.
And he has an amazing
hands
wink.
on.
He has this wink that when he winks, it's like...
The wink of
Simon's
approval.
wink
He
back.
literally, if
That's
he
a bit-
winks at you, you are So
He's
you
not
are the
made up.
favourite.
but you've been to he's got this big new house in LA, which I read about.
He's an
You've
amazing
been out
house.
there. Did he invite you out there? You went to see?
Yeah, we met him. We met him there for we were making the new album back in the summertime, and he brought us over just to talk about the album and what producers he liked us to go in and work with.
He
and
brought us around the house before we got to business. And
it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty jaw-dropping.
Okay, what
house.
can you tell us about the house? What would be impressive?
His
What would you
maid's
find?
covered in tattoos.
He's got a tattooed maid.
Yeah.
The house is
black toilet roll.
Black toilet paper.
black toilet paper. Yeah.
A cinema.
He's got the garage is the most impressive part though. He's got they're all black cars. He's got a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, and a Bugatti, but it's the special edition Bugatti. It's like $2 million, and then he's got this black marble slate. And it's all black. Everything is black. He loves black.
I think we've established that he likes black. I think if you go out your way to find black toilet paper, you've got to really like black. If you're going to wipe your arse on it, you've really got to like a colour. He's like the Dark Lord from the Star Wars movies, isn't he? Yeah, he's like, that's the Sith Lord Cowl.
How did you do that?
Do you socialise together, or is it? I mean, I guess you see enough of each other working, but do you hang out together socially as well?
We actually do. We socialise quite a bit. You know, we go out for
Probably a bit
drinks
too
or go
much.
for probably a bit too much. Yeah, we're actually very good friends, and I think that's why we're still together.
When you do have a big night out, though, when you do celebrate something, or it's a birthday, or maybe it's a Christmas, and you're all having a great time, you're alone at home, we've established this with no fans.
With a turn up.
Yeah, with a turn here. But when you go out and who is the wildest? Who's the one who often gets a little bit out of control first?
I honestly.
I think we all have our moments.
No,
but-
Keane
yeah,
is the wildest man. Keane just gets out of the game. Like it's just.
He gets to the moment you could like bang a rock in his head and he wouldn't even notice.
Keane starts drinking at about 3 o'clock. You know, when he's about 6 hours into the night.
And you have to calm him down. Do you get him home? You put him in a cab?
Keane bites people.
Yeah, but he kisses you too.
bites people.
Bites you.
And he kisses you.
He bit me on the.
I don't know how the best way to describe
I think
it.
hungry is the word.
No, I don't get hungry. I become like a child.
You
It'd be the best.
revert to a child.
Yeah.
I revert to a child.
Like a drunk
so I
child.
kiss everybody and I bite everybody. I want to play, you know?
He bit me. You shouldn't bite. Even at nursery, you get taught not to. You get sent home for biting.
I didn't get sent home that night, though.
Where do you bite? Who do you bite?
I bit him on the ass.
He bit
one
me
night.
on the ass.
He nearly bit my earlobe off
and I
about 2
literally
months
like
ago.
Dracula, Mark's blood.
You still got the scar.
Blood. Blood through the jeans. It was an Equinox. He went to the toilet.
How did you weren't bare then? He bit you through jeans and
Through jeans. Swear to God, he's got fangs. Look at show him the fangs.
I do have quite big fangs.
Got the fangs.
I have a very good friend as well who's like 6'4", but he's got like really big ears, and I always bite his ears when we get drunk. I jump at his back and bite
Bit
his
my
ears.
ears about 2 months ago and you took the lobe off.
So when you're having a drink, do you?
They guard. They're
you
like,
try
oh, no,
not to sit
Keane's
next to
around.
him
Now we
because-
know, you see, now we know.
It's like Hannibal
We didn't know
Lecter. We
10
had this
years ago.
mask.
He's all right. He's all right with a few beers. He's grand with a few beers, but if he drinks vodka, that's it.
So vodka, you go.
Vodka, that is literally.
Demon.
And when you're sober, do you kind of think, I want to get drunk, I want to bite someone? You miss it when it's not happening.
This is not.
I bet you
looking
look
well
forward
for
to
me
it.
here,
Well,
right?
no, I bet when you go out the night, you're thinking, I'm going to bite someone. I mean, do you
I tell
have-
you what, after this interview, I'm definitely going to bite his arse again.
Well, that seems to me with approval as well. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about the stalls. Oh, before we do that, this is something, once again, people have told me, Westlife fans have come down, they said, if you have Nicky on the show, you have to get him to do his Malteser trick. And part of me dreads finding out what this might be, but you need a Malteser for this, I believe.
Well, a couple would, if in case of the first one goes wrong.
A couple, okay.
Have you got a packet?
I have a packet, yeah. Look at that.
Oh yeah, man.
Have one, pass it on.
Now,
Am I allowed to bite this?
this is pressure, by the way.
You okay biting? No, you don't mind. It's your trick just eating a Malteser.
I'm hungry.
That isn't the best trick I've ever seen, I'll be honest with you.
You gotta go. You
Okay,
gotta
what do you
get
do
down.
with the
I'm going to
Malteser?
get down. I can do it.
Get down there and do it
Excuse
properly.
me, it's my trick.
You won't do it.
Hold it, no, I like... Say that again. Get down there and do it.
Get down there and do it.
Every word began with D there. Get down there and do it.
Right.
Okay, Nicky, let's see.
The idea of the trick.
Don't tell him. Just do it.
Just
No.
do it.
No, you have to explain it, because then if you don't, they don't know what you're doing.
No, because then it might work and they might think that was it.
Just do the bloody trick. That was worth the wait. That was worth the wait. Okay, let's talk about the stalls, because you often appear on stage with your stalls.
Very often.
There you are singing there. Do you not do it so much anymore?
Not really.
It was sort of it was almost a trademark thing, wasn't it?
It was for a
It
while.
was, yeah. For the
So you
first
get away
kinda
from the stalls?
5 or 6 years it was.
Because
Yeah.
you'd be sitting on the stalls, and then
And
and then when it got dramatic, you'd stand up, and then when there was a key change, you'd start walking forward.
And then we'd stand up in the key change and then walk forward.
Do you know
Okay.
we were chanting to Robbie Williams about maybe 4 years ago, and he said to us, "Your next album has got to be Stand Up for the Key Change. That's got to be the name of it." So,
But it
maybe.
always works, you know. It's a crowd pleasing moment. I'm sorry to hear that you're moving on from the stalls.
We left
We'll
behind.
still have place for stools in our lives, you know.
What a terrific bunch of young men. It's Westlife. Thank you so much. Well done. Good luck. Thank you. Go down the check. Ladies and gentlemen, Westlife. And welcome to Friday Night with me, Jonathan Ross.
Welcome to Alan Carr China!
Shall we get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you, thank you.
I should imagine most people from Liverpool hate hearing that song, don't they?
No, we love it. It's great. We all get together on a Sunday and all to see who's got the longest hair and then sing it to them.
It's a really nice family get-together,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yes.
Hey, well, welcome back, because John's never actually been on the show, but a few years back, we were lucky enough to have John do warm-up here.
I did,
for us,
I did when
and you were terrific.
Well, it was good, but it was interesting because I didn't realise, I just started doing the stand-up then, I didn't realise what a big thing it was to do the warm-up on your show.
Well,
And
it's not that big a thing.
No, it is though, isn't it? Because you get an opportunity to see people walk past you, like Robbie Williams, I remember, and there was Victoria Beckham.
But I heard you'd given up the comedy. I thought that's why you weren't doing it anymore. They told me you'd gone back to your proper job.
No, what
You-
happened is I'd started doing the comedy whilst having a job, and I had no plans to be a comedian.
You worked for a pharmaceutical firm, is that right?
Yeah, I was a sales director in a pharmaceutical company.
Okay. And so you went back to that for a while?
Oh, no, what happened is I kept it going. I kept the two things going. And that's why I couldn't commit to doing the warm-up, because I had sales meetings, which is just ridiculous. I'm saying, no, I don't want to be on the show with Robbie Williams there because I've got a graph to show. So I couldn't commit to it. And then I just kept the two going along, and then I just reached the point where I thought, I've just got to make a decision.
But, you know, I can understand that must be a tough thing, because you had kids already, didn't you?
Oh, yeah,
So it's
three
a
lads.
responsibility of, like, you know, I've got a proper job here, and I guess you were doing pretty well in the company. And then you're going to try and hand a comedy, which is a fairly fickle business, and it's, I would have thought,
very.
quite a tough decision to make.
Well, it was, but it was also not something that I ever planned to do. And because I didn't plan to do comedy, I never really took it serious. It was just that I was getting asked to do more and more. It reached a point I thought, well, maybe there's something in it.
So how did you get into that if you hadn't planned it? Because most people I know, they see comedy, they fall in love with the idea, and they want to give it a try. But it was more of an accident, was it?
Well, I'd never seen comedy. I'd been to 2 comedy clubs in my life, but what happened is I split up with my wife, and then and so I was depressed. And so I did what most men do when they're depressed. I got drunk. And, because that's what men do, innit? We've got no one else to talk to. Like, women are all right. They'll phone their friends up and say, I'm depressed, and then she'll bring a few friends round, and then
And
there'll
some
be
ice cream.
ice cream, Bridget Jones, bottle of Chardonnay, then they'll watch the film, one of them will start crying, they'll hug her, she'll get hot and take her top off.
Pillow fight. Oil massage.
Exactly.
Get the camera ready.
It's brilliant. It's not like that for us, though. That Brokeback Mountain was a lie. It doesn't work like that for us.
You just want to be invited camping. Yeah. So you went out and you decided to drown your sorrows traditionally.
No, what happened is I used to have my lads every weekend, and so that meant that every because of the job I couldn't guarantee where it'd be. So every Monday I'd drop him back at school and nursery and wouldn't see him for a week. And not that anyone who's done that, it's horrible. So I used to go out, and then it's hard because all my mates would say, look, you know, I'm fed up and, you know, I need to do something tonight. And they'll come for the first week or two. But you know what a bloke's like when you say I'm fed up, to go, oh, fancy a game of darts. You know what I mean? It's not... So I was looking for somewhere to go. I could go on my own. I went to a comedy club in Manchester thinking I could just sit in the background. And when I walked up to the door, the fella said, look, it's £4 to get in, but it's an open mic night. I didn't even know what that meant. He said, and that means if you put your name down, you can get in for free. So I thought, well, you know, it's £4. I'm getting divorced. That's £4. She's not fucking having. So I put my name down. Went in, and there was. I'd been to 2 comedy clubs. One being the Comedy Store in London, one being this same place for 4 years before. I'm expecting it to be filled. There was 7 people in there. 5 had put the name down. And literally, if I'd have been in there 10 minutes longer, I'd have left, but my name got called out second after a fella doing chicken impressions. So I'm honestly stood there, I'm thinking, well, what have I got to lose? There's only 7 people here. And one of them thinks he's a chicken. So I just got up on the stage, and because I was getting divorced, I just started talking about getting divorced and how miserable I was. And I was meant to do 7 minutes, I did 35 minutes. Because you do. Any man in this room who's been married for 8 years, if someone gives you 35 minutes to talk without interruption, you just grab it.
So presumably then, you didn't want to get back together with your wife because that would have meant the end to the material.
Well, what happened? What happened? There was a frightening moment. I've never told her this. What happened was I used to do this joke where I used to say hello, and it's the comedian's joke where you try and chat up the whole room so that there's a chance of getting your leg over. So you walk on and go, "Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little bit sad. You know, I've just split up with my partner." I used to say, "Look, I'm just split up with my wife." People go, obviously, a bit more... I normally didn't have to milk it like that, but I'd say, "I've just split up with my wife." "Oh, it's all right, don't worry about it, we're not divorced or anything. I've just killed her." But I knew I was going to miss it, so I kept her head in the fridge for 3 months, which proved very, very handy. Not a great joke, but I was just starting off. And then, but what happened? I used to do it, because I didn't want anyone to know that I was doing it. I used to do it under a made-up name and stuff. It wasn't for tax reasons, obviously.
So what was your name? What was the name you preferred?
They used to just say open spot Billy Bishop or Eddie Bishop, who's my brother. My brother's going to get hammered for tax one night. and then what happened? I was on the stage one night, and as I say, I never went to comedy, and neither did my wife, and I did that joke, and on the stage, you only see a few people in the audience, and I looked to the left, and the head that was meant to be in the fridge was in the audience.
So she was there?
She was there. She was on a works do. She didn't know I was going to be on. We'd split up then nearly 2 years. The divorce was going through. Because I had the kids for a weekend, I didn't really see her, so... And I was expecting that. I come off the stage, as soon as I saw her, I thought, that's going to cost me another 20 grand. I walked off the stage and she was stood by the bar, and I'm expecting the row to come up. And it was lovely, because she just said, "You know, that was great." I said, "What?" She said, just seeing you the way you used to be, with that little glint in your eye and the smile on your face." She said, "You know, what happened to you?" I said, "I married you." And then she said... And she did what only a woman would do. She said, "Well, look, can we do something?" And I'll say this publicly, because people should do it. She said, "You know, let's go and talk to someone." I mean, not anyone. No. You can't get on a bus and say to a fella, "Listen, mate, we've been having a few problems." We went to a thing called Relate.
Yeah, which is the marriage guidance service.
Yeah,
of course,
which, you know, if you ask people in here, no one admits to it, but it's like dogging. People must be doing it. And we went.
Oh, that isn't the advice they gave you to save the marriage.
It's amazing what they say now. Yeah, our advisor was sat there in the gimp outfit going, "Just go down." That's what's missing. Yeah. And we got back together. So, you know, that's why I feel so grateful.
So you got back together even after doing that material on stage?
Yeah, after 2 years.
And when was this? When did you get back together?
So we've been together now about 8 years.
And you're still together now?
Yeah.
And that's nice, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lovely end to the story. That's a genuine story. That actually happened.
That's a genuine story, and that's why, in many respects, I feel so grateful for the fact that comedy was there, because it was a way for me to get it all off my chest. Yeah, it was like counselling, really, with people laughing at you. And it was a way for me to do that.
Now, how old are you? You got boys, is that right?
Yeah.
How old are boys? How old are the kids?
15, 13, 11.
Wow, that's quite a handful, I would have thought.
Well, you're in the same boat, aren't
Yeah,
you?
but I've got an older girl and then a boy and a girl. To have boys running around with energy, that must be quite something. But do you talk about them on stage still?
I do, and it's funny because it's awkward. You can't imagine anything more embarrassing than your dad trying to be funny. You know, it's basically your dad trying...
Especially if you're a teenager.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what teenagers are like. They should... Well, you've been through it, and I don't know if anyone here has been through it, but I have to look at photographs of them when they were babies to remind myself I used to love them. Because they're not the same people.
They're different people altogether.
They should do an advert. You know, like they had the advert for stroke victims to warn you what the symptoms are. They should do the same and say, see this child, look, its head's going to one side now. He won't look at it, it's going to grow hair like that. And so there is that little bit where I'm not sure how much they enjoy it, but they're a part of the show because they're a part of my life. And in a playful way, I have to say to them, look, I've got to tell you this, because when I did the Apollo, this brought it all home to me, the problem with having kids and doing this job. When I did the Apollo, you do live at the Apollo, and as I'm on the stage, I glanced at the clock and I was a couple of minutes short, and I was doing about being married and growing old with someone, and this joke jumped into me, I don't know where it's from. And I said, you know, part of the difficulty is you reach a certain stage in your life and you know you're getting old, and for a man it's when you look down and see your face grey pubic hair. And I know when it happened to me, I looked down and I was disappointed. I had to say to me, Mrs. Listen, love, you're going to have to tidy that up. I'm doing my best here. I'm dressed as a fireman. That's the gag. And then Melanie, my missus said, look, you know, you're on live at the Apollo. This is a great thing for you. It's a good opportunity. I think we should watch it as a family. And I said, and I'm going, I'm not so sure about that. She said, no, let's watch it as a family. I said, well, all right. So we sat on the couch, and obviously I didn't know what was going to be in it. Yeah. So we sat on the couch, and there's me, Melanie, and the lads who were sat there. And I could see that joke coming. It's like watching a car crash. Because I start, you know, you're getting old, and you look down, you see your face, gravy pubic hair, and I'm waiting for the punch to come. And I said, you know, oh, listen, love, you're going to have to tidy it up. And I'm expecting her to go, hey, and hit me. She's laughing her head off. My youngest lad gets up and goes, what'd you say that for? I said, it's just a joke. I'm just having a joke. It's not true. That's just a joke. He said, it's all right for you. He said, when I go to school, everyone's going to say, your mum's got a badger, Fanny.
A badger, Fanny?
I have no idea.
Where did you get that from?
He must have been studying badgers.
Did you? I didn't see this. I was told that you went on Celebrity Mastermind.
Jesus, who told you that?
How'd you do on that? How well did you do?
It was a disaster. It was a car crash. I'll tell you what happened. I got a phone call off my agent. She said, obviously, you know, it's been a good year and the BBC seem interested in you. They've asked us to go on Celebrity Mastermind. And I said, no chance. And she said, why? I said, well, I'm not a celebrity. And I don't know anything. And she said, well, it's all, you know, it's a good thing. The producer wants to speak to you. So the producer phoned me up and said, will you come on? I said, look, I'm not interested. I don't want to be in anything with celebrity in the title. I'm not really interested. She said, well, it's for charity. And I'm sat at home watching the television. You know, when something happens and an advert came on for this charity called the Smile Train, which do brilliant work.
I know it. They fix cleft palates.
Fix cleft palates in the third world, do fantastic work, changes kids' lives, and the voiceover comes on saying, you know, put a smile on a child's face, change a child's life. And I'm like that, and this producer's saying to me, look, we do this for charity. You don't get a fee, we give you an enhanced fee, but it all goes to the charity. Will you do it? And I said, all right, I'll do it for the Smile Train. Yeah. She said, what's your specialist subject? I said, holidays I've been on. And she honestly said, I'll phone you back in 10 minutes. I don't know what she was doing in then 10 minutes. She must have been phoning me mum going, where's your John been on holiday? So then she phoned back and said, what subject? I said, Liverpool Football Club. She said, you can't ask that. And then I said, in fact, I never even said it. I know I didn't say it, but I heard my own voice say, the Irish potato famine. I don't know anything about the Irish potato famine.
And how well did you do? Because I'm sorry I didn't see the show. I was just told you were on
it. Oh, it was a disaster. My eventual score was 18.
Well, that's not too bad.
Not too bad. Annika Rice got 18 in the first round.
Yeah, because normally people get 14 or 15 in the first round and about 10, 12. So what did you didn't do well on?
I got 9 in the first round, but to be fair, I only got 13 questions because I don't know if anyone here is interested in the Irish potato famine. Well, you can't do a quick question. Everything's dead long. Come on, Hunt, get to the question.
Listen, John's on tour. You're on tour right now, is that right?
I am on tour till May. I mean, this has been a great tour. It was supposed to finish at the Liverpool Arena in May, but that's sold out. So we're doing the next tour, which is a bit more bigger venues.
Right, it's
Wembley.
It's an exciting time for you.
It's Wembley and all of that at the end of the year, so I'm really loving it.
Hey, what a great guest, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you'll agree. Just charming company, very funny. I'm looking forward to seeing you properly live. Mr. John Bishop, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. That was great, John. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. I'll call you back. John Bishop.
Thank you.
What a funny guest. Shall we get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen? Really welcome El Duderino, Jeff Bridges. Well, they've got you're honoured on the chest there, right there, look at that. Immortalised. Take a seat. Well, how lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
Now, here, can I just say you had a big birthday recently, didn't you? It was a big celebration.
Oh, yeah, 60.
Turned the big 6-0. What a fine figure of a man for 60.
Oh, man.
Wow, congratulations. All your own hair and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Big party? Did you have a big celebration?
Oh, man, what a party. My wife threw me this incredible party, playing a lot of music, had great musicians there, and we just had a wonderful time.
Music, it's a big thing for you, music, isn't it? Obviously, we're going to get to the new movie, but you play guitar, I believe, is that right?
Since I was a kid, playing guitar, writing, singing, yeah.
Who came to the party? You had musicians, you said. Any bands we would know of?
We had Michael McDonald was there playing some keyboards, Jimmy Messina on guitar, the wonderful Ryan Bingham, who was nominated for an Academy Award with Crazy Heart.
He wrote the tunes with T-Bone.
T-Bone, right. T-Bone was there.
T-Bone.
Yeah.
T-Bone's a great name, isn't it?
Isn't that a good
Who doesn't
name?
want to... How do you go about getting yourself a name like T-Bone?
You just do it. You could change your name, John.
Well, I could, but no one would call me T-Bone.
Come on.
They wouldn't convince it.
I'll call you T-Bone for the rest of the evening.
Well, you would, Jeff, but you're going to go away and forget about me immediately after this show. We know that. But how do you introduce anything? Do you think you just have to send a little note out to people saying, from now on, I'm only answering to T-Bone? Or
That's right. Yeah,
you just hope it snowballs?
A text, or you send it out over the internet,
Well, you must get called Dude a lot, I'm sure, by people who don't know you that well.
I do. Yeah.
Do you mind that?
No, I love that. God, that movie is a wonderful thing.
This is, The Big Lebowski was... How long ago was The Big Lebowski?
God, I don't know. What, 10 years ago?
About 10 years ago, slightly more, I think, maybe even, because I think the danger, when someone plays a role really well and gets associated with it, I think people often think that's you. Mm-hmm. And here you have you're this kind of laid-back stoner dude, has an active working relationship with various drugs, has done a lot of acid in the past. Now, this must be a question you've counted before. Do you draw on personal experience from that? Is this something that you've enjoyed yourself or continue to enjoy?
I do draw on those experiences. I made the choice not to smoke any pot when I was making that movie.
So not doing it for real?
No. The dialogue, the Coen brothers, they write such great dialogue. It seems like it's improvised. It's so well written, but you got to be on your game. You really got to have all your wits about you when you're doing stuff like that. So I just, actors, we have this thing called sense memory, where you remember, what it was like.
So you remember. So you, obviously you smoked up. Have you done acid? Because the character...
Yes, yes.
Now, did you have a... That's quite a ringing endorsement for it, right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A good experience for you, a bad experience for you?
Quite a bit of both, actually. Yeah. Scary. You've done acid, right?
I've never done acid.
You never have?
No, I've been waiting for someone with a beard to invite me out of the desert. And when you have kids, as you do, are you worried that they're going to do the same things? Do you encourage them to experiment, or do you try and steer them away? Are you honest about your own experiences?
It's funny. My girls, they're not quite as wild as I was when I was growing up. I think times have changed. They're a little more sophisticated now. People know the danger of those things. They don't want to go there.
So you don't really have to steer them?
No, that's right. Yeah, it was kind of surprising. They don't indulge.
This week, knowing you were coming on the show, I watched a lot of your old movies. Some with my kids as well, because I love introducing them to films they might not otherwise see. We saw Starman. I watched Cutler's Way again, which is an incredible film.
Oh, that's good.
But it struck me how what a body you had on you back then, because you had the kind of lean, fit body that movie stars today have. We didn't see so. You had the six-pack going on, everything.
Oh, man, yeah.
Now you're more relaxed about it, I can see. Do you miss that?
Well, you play a couple of fat parts, and then it's hard to get back in shape,
Because in the new movie, of course, you get seen sitting in your pants, and you're meant to look a bit wrecked, a bit...
That's right,
old and past it. But I'm guessing you don't have that level of vanity. You're not worried about showing yourself in that light.
No. I mean, if the part calls for it, that's what you do. It's fun for a little while. You get to eat that extra pint of ice cream and have that extra drink, but that gets old after a while.
But you've lost a lot of it since the movie, haven't you?
Yeah, a bit of it.
How do you do that?
Jane Fonda turned me onto this great soup called Beeler's soup, and it's 1 part green beans, 1 part zucchini, and 1 part parsley, and you chop all that up. You put that in a pot. You cover that with water, you boil that, you put it in a blender, and then you eat that only for as long as you like it. It's a wonderful thing. You never get hungry on it.
I should imagine it passes through you fairly quickly, though, Jeff.
Very quickly.
I don't know why we've suddenly got Jeff Bridges giving us soup recipes.
I
feel I'm steering this in the wrong direction.
I should have done it as Julia Child.
Okay, let's talk about Crazy Heart, because a remarkable film. I've seen it already. It's out here. I think it opens here on the 19th in London, then the week after all over the UK. And you finally won an award. You got the Golden Globe for this.
That's it, yeah.
You've been nominated so many times in the past. You've been nominated for an Oscar for this as well. Tell us about the part. Tell us what attracted you to it.
Well, what attracted me was I got to play music, and it was with my dear friend T-Bone Burnett and Stephen Bruton. So that was the big attraction. And I play a country singer who at one time was very famous, sort of like up there with, you know, Christopherson and Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, those guys, Johnny Cash. But he's kind of on the bottom right now. And that's about all I want to tell you about. There's some wonderful performances. Maggie Gyllenhaal is in it. She gives a great performance. Colin Farrell, Bob Duvall. Great cast.
You play and you sing. You said, do you sing in the movie? Is it your voice we hear on the screen?
Yeah, I'm doing my singing and playing, yeah.
And there's that one big gig at the end that you play at with Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And was that an actual gig that was set up for you guys? Or did
It was a concert that Toby Keith and Montgomery Gentry were kind enough to let us come in their halftime, and we shot 2 songs in about 10 minutes. It was kind of wild.
That must have been to go in front of. How big was the crowd there?
Oh, about 12,000 people or something like that.
That's quite something. Let's have a look at the clip. This is Jeff Bridges in a movie which has quite rightly been nominated for many, many awards and already won, at least one major one. It opens all over the UK on the 5th of March, but in London here just a bit earlier in February. Do you approach the different kind of movies in any different way? I mean, when you're doing a movie like Crazy Heart, which is a fairly small, intense film, a low budget, a short while ago we saw you in Iron Man. That was a big budget, great fun movie. I would imagine a very different working experience when you're making something as big as that.
You would think so, but not really, you know. As a matter of fact, with Iron Man, a lot of times we would come up, show up for the day's work and not really know what we were going to do. We didn't have our script. So we would.
Why was that?
Well, they just, I think what happens with those big ones, they have a release date in place, and they say, oh, by the time we get to that, we'll get our script, and they don't have it. So thank God we had Jon Favreau directing that, and Robert Downey Jr., who are great improvisers and could think on their feet, but, you know.
It's great. I loved it, obviously. I love comic books anyway, and I'm glad they pulled it off. But that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
You know, if you think it would be, but like you say, it turned out great, and I had to make a little adjustment in my head, you know, because I was very anxious. You can imagine, you know, I'd like to know my lines and be prepared. But I finally, you know, came to understand that we were making a $200 million student film, and that we should just have fun and, you know, hang out and, relax, you know, and that turned out to be a good idea.
You know, some films, you would have to know what you're doing when you go into them. There's no way you could make a movie like Starman, for example, which is another favourite of mine, and that's a remarkable performance. I don't know if you've seen Jeff in Starman, but that's a very unusual film and a really peculiar performance. How do you go apart when you're playing someone like, you know, a country and western guys, you can meet those guys, you can base it. But when you're playing an extraterrestrial who has to be as peculiar as he is, where do you create that from?
With Starman, I found, looking through my phone book, and I say, now who would I not be surprised to find out was actually from outer space? And I found this one guy in the book, a guy named Russell Clark, a wonderful dancer. And so I called him up, and we worked actually like in a dance sort of way on that opening scene, you know, when I'm coming to life, kind of.
And walking and moving in a peculiar way.
And I figured if I could get that down, it would be just a progression of getting more human as the thing went on. I remember this time when I'm rehearsing, you know, this scene, and I thought I got to rehearse it naked. I got to be in the film. I got to rehearse naked. And sometimes when I'm doing this, I will, rehearsing by myself, I'll have a camera, a video camera.
Yeah, I've used that excuse.
You do, yes. I'm in my room there, in the corner, naked, with the camera on me. And I'm going through my motions, and I hear my wife. She looks at me, and then she does.
Well, we have a clip of that to show you now. Where's that footage? Do you have that footage still?
It's burned.
Oh, it's a shame. That is a shame. But a tremendous film and a great performance. Let's talk about Tron a little bit, because Tron was a big hit. It was a peculiar movie once again. There's, if you haven't seen Jeff in Tron, there he is, and that's... once again, that's a very different look right there. And they're making, finally they're making, is it a sequel or is it just a different version of the same story they're making?
It's a sequel. No, it'd be a sequel, yeah.
And so you're playing the same character?
Playing the same guy, but, 30 years down the line. Yeah.
And he's not still trapped in the machine, is he?
I'm not saying.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
No.
Jeff, tell us a little bit.
No.
Do they still have the bikes in it?
Yes, I'll tell you that. They do have the bike.
Well, no, I just already asked you that. You're not telling me anything. Right, so tell me, you got to tell me something I haven't asked you about. You still wear the hat and you still throw the ball? Frisbees?
I'll say this, no hat.
No hat?
No hat.
Yeah, not the most exciting piece of gossip about football. No hat. How did they do the original one then? Because it was way ahead of its time, but it must have been... I mean, I remember seeing it. I'd never seen anything like it.
It was so bizarre. It was shot in 70mm black and white. So we would show up to work, and everybody was encouraged to wear colors because all the sets were all just, black. Your costumes were all black and white. Then you'd come out in the day after work, and all the colors would be, wonderful.
Wow. What about the costumes themselves? Were they kind of like the way they looked, or did they add that afterwards? All those weird, the lights.
You know what a dance belt is?
I think I do. Is it just a kind of little thong?
Yeah, but it's a thong. But like it's not a jock strap. You can say jock strap on TV.
You can say much more than jock strap.
The jock strap has the two straps in the back.
Oh yeah, around the back.
And
so
the dance belt just has that one. Right? But
it's like you're flossing.
It's
so you're wearing that?
I'm wearing that the whole damn time.
Now,
here's another bit of the new... I don't have to wear a dance belt in the new movie.
So there's not as much chafing in the new movie?
No.
OK. I very much hope you win the Oscar. I think you deserve it. And I also hope to see you... I can't wait to see you in Tron. But I always look forward to seeing what you're doing next. What are you working on after this?
I get to work with the Coen brothers next.
Oh, you're remaking True Grit?
Yeah, True Grit.
Now, I've got mixed feelings about that.
Tell me.
Well, John Wayne.
I know.
Are you playing the John Wayne one?
I am.
Are you going to do the walk and the talk, or is it a whole new thing?
The patch, the whole
Coogan, was he Coogan Rooster or something?
Rooster Cogburn.
Rooster Cogburn.
Yeah.
And has it got the famous line in it?
What's the famous line?
The famous line. Don't you know the famous line?
What is the famous line?
It's fill your hands, you sons of...
Oh,
you know that line?
Nicely done.
Yeah, well, I'm not performing it now.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use your delivery.
You're going to do it, though? Have they got that in the script? They've got to put that in the script.
That's right. I hope they do.
How lovely to have you here, Jeff. Thank you so much for squeezing us in. And congratulations on yet another fine performance. I can't wait to see how well it does. But I'm going to go and see the movie on the big screen when it comes out, because I saw a little screen. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saying thank you to the wonderful Mr. Jeff Bridges. Thank you very much indeed. Have a good evening. Thank you. Jeff Bridges, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Friday Night with me, Jonathan Ross.
Welcome to Alan Carr, China!
Oh, Jesus. I'm talking about time, don't.
Oh, I've just been... Oh. Don't patronise me, Alicia.